Alright, here's devlog number 2 of my 30-day challenge to make progress on PitFight, my upcoming indie game. Today we're going to take a stab at trying to clean up and fix our execution system, because in its current state, it's in shambles. This fix was a little complicated, so bear with me. And since I went back and forth a lot, I cut out a lot of the fluff, and I'll just cover the main components. First, we have our character executions separated into montages and sequences, along with a data table to manage each execution for each class. Here's some of the execution blueprint that I had to go over. I had to do a ton of cleanup, but underneath it all, we're using a heavily modified version of the multiplayer execution system. It's an asset on the Unreal Marketplace, and it made a great starting point for the rest. A lot of my mistakes were really just in the data table and fine-tuning the numbers there until we had what we really wanted. I removed the damage from the execution, just so I could spam it back-to-back for testing too. And similar to my last bug, I had to apply the right slots to the execution animations for the victim because it wasn't playing right. But I think what's more important than telling you every single step I made to fix this bug, it's that telling you that bug fixing isn't a clear path. You just need a lot of patience in order to find out what's actually going on. Like what I showed there was just an error in me tweaking some numbers from a negative to the positive, and just because I know that, I was able to fix it easily. But if some processes get too big and it gets messy there, you could do that and think it's an entirely new bug. So you just have to be careful with your approach and make sure you remember as much as you can along the way as you're changing things, or at least be able to recognize them when they break. But we still have a lot of nonsense happening though, so let's get that fixed. I noticed one of the main problems was the rotation. The character wouldn't face the executioner, and I'm sure there's some humor in that, but after playing around with this for a while and not having it fixed, I was starting to get a little frustrated. I thought maybe it was the mouse movements, how I have the character rotate to wherever the mouse location is, but no, that wasn't it. Maybe our disable input variable was getting overwritten somewhere as I was trying to disable it because of this, and that wasn't it either. I tried making a test variable just in case the disable input was getting overwritten, and that wasn't working either. Then I set a delay in the rotation, and I noticed something. My character was rotating to look at me, but then rotating back to its original position. Okay, so I thought we were halfway there at least. So then I started messing with the rotation logic for the execution system itself, and replaced a lot of the default logic with the same logic I used to rotate the character with the mouse, which is just rotating the player controller instead of the player model itself. After that, we finally had things staying put, at least for the rotation. A lot of things were still messed up. So I finally went back and I cleaned up the speeds of everything in the data table. I turned the damage back on, I removed the debug boxes, and bam, we finally got a good-looking, rotatable execution. I almost didn't get this one out today, but day 2 of our 30-day challenge down. So if you got this far, thanks for the support, nerds, and we'll see you in the next one.